In a way, I hope Rickrolling never dies as well. It's just like one of those relics of the past. When I'm elderly, I hope to be like, back in my day, we used to send videos of Rick Astley to each other. I really wish that I could somehow convey to people just how wonderful it was to be perpetually online in the golden age of the internet. Is that the dial-up noise?
Oh, yeah. Good morning, Riz.
Good morning. Cheers to podcasting. We are here doing a morning podcast today. Decided to try something a little bit different from usual. Our Mug of the Woods mugs are filled with coffee as opposed to sparkling water.
Oh, wow.
Which is our usual go-to. We are in a campground at Muskegon State Park on Lake Michigan, which is a beautiful campground, by the way. We finally left Fort Custer Recreation Area. We finally did it.
We moved.
Barely.
And we hung out all day in a Home Depot parking lot, which was fantastic.
It was
there
great.
Exotic birds that had migrated into the garden center, and they serenaded us all day long.
It was actually recordings that they were playing all day of birds that didn't live in Michigan, and it was really confusing me as a bird biology person.
Let's show everybody how good you are at ornithology. Are you ready for this? What bird am I making the noise of? Parrot, parrot, parrot.
A hippie impersonating a parrot.
Just the end part was correct. Yeah, the suffix
parrot.
there.
Just
yeah.
a parrot. Okay.
Suffix of the sentence was
Got
totally
it.
on point. This is what I don't like about McDooge version 3. Is I have to do one of these.
I'm not going to say it's like the greatest setup that we've had thus far, but we're getting there.
Isn't this great though, the McDooge 3? So it has a tongue. It comes right out. The tongue used to be a flappy do, but now it's sturdy and hard, and it holds a whole bag of garbanzo beans. Garbanzo beans.
I don't know what we're going to do with those beans. We've got this bag of dried garbanzo beans that we've just been kind of like moving from place to place and trying to give to people and donate, and no one wants it. What are we going to do with dried beans? If you want to cook dried garbanzo beans, you got to soak them for 24 hours, and then you got to cook them for like 3 hours, and then you got to skim off all the salty, scuzzy water. And it's just, we're in an RV.
I have an idea, Riz.
What's the idea?
So we were YouTubing yesterday a little bit before sleepy times, and we found a weird old YouTube video for Jack and the Beanstalk. Well, if I remember this fairy tale fable correctly, Jack...
Oh, we could trade some beans for a donkey?
Well, we get the donkey, though.
Oh, true. Yeah.
So we're the ones that
that's
get
the
to
opposite.
now
Yeah. So
sell the magic beans.
magic beans.
They're magic garbanzo
What's
beans.
going to happen
now.
when they find out they're not actually magic, though?
Well, they are. We have to, make them magic. We have to do like a little...
Oh,
we have
make our own
candles.
magic.
We found a bag of candles in here, right? So now we just make our circle, and then we put the beans in the circle, and then we light the candles and put some super positive intention in there, and then we take the dishes and we walk in a circle around the garbanzos and we dish them. We just go in a circle.
Yeah.
And then we'll fuse them with magic.
Oh, yeah. That's how that works. Oh, but we got to get crystals around it, too.
Crystals.
And yoni eggs.
Oh my gosh, we can get like yoni garbanzo crystals.
Oh, there we go.
Tiny
now we're
little
getting
crystals.
somewhere. Yoni garbanzo beans.
You can find
So
them on the
instead of
beach.
yoni eggs, yoni beans.
Oh, yoni beans.
Oh my God.
That's how
it
we
even
sell them.
sounds so much better. Yoni beans.
Excuse me, we have yoni beans for sale. Please take a look. That's not how you sell them, but that's an example.
See, the thing about the internet is that probably already exists, and I am not going to Google it. 'Cause I don't want to find out. Okay, so here we are podcasting. We got a morning podcast going, morning edition. DilloKriz morning edition.
Oh.
Do 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 do. Today on DilloKriz Morning Edition, we cover groundbreaking topics such as where are we? What are we doing? Why are we here? What has happened? And why has it been a week and a half since our last podcast episode? You don't know this, viewer, because I have not edited or published any of our previous podcast episodes. What's happening? Let's dig in and find out. Dillo reporting live.
Oh, hey, Rose, this is Dello. I met them in the morning of Wednesday.
Your transmission's cutting out. Your transmission's cutting out. And vetoed.
It's like my Verizon wireless signal here. I tried to make a call. It did not go well earlier. Not on the slightest.
So I'm going to take over this report. Too early for that, man. I don't do mornings well. That's why I got this. Literally, this entire tankard is full of coffee right now. All right. So we finally left Fort Custer Recreation Area. We were there for about 3.5 weeks.
Yeah, it was a good amount of time.
Almost a month that we spent in Fort Custer Recreation Area, and we have finally migrated. It took a lot of coaxing and work and life to get out of our kind of comfort zone of like, we have to prepare. But there's just no way to actually prepare for taking this beast on a road trip, because as soon as we got on the road, we started overheating a bit. It's like, of course.
It almost got to the L. That's how
to the
I
L
gauged
in the
heat.
normal.
It says no. Oh, you can't see. It says normal in a semicircle. You know where the heat
There's a
is from low to
C
high.
on one side and an H on the other, and in the middle it says normal. So it's still within the normal range, but it was climbing pretty quick, and we weren't doing anything. We drove about 50 miles and went up about a 2% grade, and then it started the heat started to climb, temperature started to climb. It's like, And whenever you drive, so now I know we haven't actually driven it any distance at all since I've been here. So now finally got a chance to drive it and go a little bit of a distance, and now I know that every time you accelerate, the engine goes woo, and it's at like jet engine decibels, to the point where I feel like I've got hearing damage from sustained listening.
You're downplaying
To that.
the intensity. Like it is way, way huge.
It like vibrates your teeth. It's a harmonic frequency that like makes your teeth hurt. So
It's built by aliens. This thing.
yeah, that's not
It's a harmonic resonance drive.
normal.
It's just kicking in.
Hey, by the way, we haven't talked yet about my vest that I'm wearing. I'm just here casually wearing this furry vest, and I feel like I need to talk about why I'm wearing this furry vest.
Are those real fur feathers?
No. I mean,
Well, let's talk about it.
I hope not. From
They
a
look
a
real.
wild zebra finch.
Oh, good. Yeah. Wow. They were close to extinction, but they are making a comeback.
A wild zebra finch.
Woo.
It's a zebra and a finch mixed together.
And wild. It's very
Wild.
free.
Very wild. They roam free, galloping and flapping their way through the Serengeti Plains.
They actually present their feathers upon death as a gesture to humanity for saving their species, I believe. I read that somewhere, I think.
Yeah, that checks out. Did you read that in the same book as about the 100th monkey syndrome? I'm sorry, I'm never going to stop bringing it up. Okay, so
Nor should you, because it's important to talk about collective consciousness.
yeah, it is. It is important to talk about collective consciousness. It's also important to talk about my consciousness, which is waning at this early hour of 8 o'clock in the morning. We got up at sunrise. Well, he got up at sunrise, and I remained. So this RV here is something that we've kind of started to dial in how it works. I've been sleeping in the bed in the back, and there's a little divider. He sleeps in a hammock out here, and in the morning he wakes up before I do, and conveniently that means that he makes the coffee. So I get to wake up to him going, "Morning, Kriz," and bringing me a cup of coffee, which is
Coffee.
perfect. That's all I ever want in life.
It's a great way to
Someone
start
else to
the
bring me
day.
coffee.
Tea's good too.
I made this round of coffee. Anyway, I was going to tell you about my vest, my fur vest of the endangered zebrafinch material. This is something I picked it up from Goodwill the other day, and I am going to wear it to Burning Man, which is now less than 20 days until I get on the bus and leave Reno, Nevada, and arrive in the desert where there will be a city full of people doing weird shit.
It's a circular city, if the pictures I remember.
Circular city, 80,000 people, something like that.
Wow.
Just in the middle of the desert. And it's a leave no trace event. So that means that everything that packs in gets packed out, and everybody has to pick up every single tiny piece of everything. So I'm wearing this for fashion, but I'm also wearing it because I have to test it out and make sure that it doesn't shed, because these plastic hairs are considered moop, matter out of place. So I must make sure that I am moop free before I take this to the desert.
For a proper test, you're going to have to put it through the same type of extraneous craziness that you might experience in the playa.
Well, luckily we are here on the Michigan lakeshore where there are sand dunes. So I could just go run around on the sand dunes and roll around in them. And you could put a fan on me. I got a great idea. We could go drive Terry around on the highway, and I could just sit on front on the hood, and that'll simulate
That's it right
that's
there.
the way to go. Or you can Barry Poppins your way across the lake with an umbrella and a paddleboard, and I'll sit on the front of that. That's, yeah.
As long as no water touches you, because there's not going to be any water.
No, there's not
going to
be water.
We need accurate representation.
Sometimes it rains.
Does it?
I've heard,
That
yeah.
would be amazing to get caught in a playa rainstorm.
Sounds horrible to me, but
Ooh, but not a dangerous one, just like a pretty one, with that, like the.
yeah.
And then the cactuses all start to bloom right in front of your eyes. Wow.
There's no cactuses.
There's no cactuses?
No.
That's probably safer. It's probably way safer, yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm also just like, oh my God, there's so much to do to prepare for this, because I'm trying to do my homework and be a really good first timer. Even though I'm limited by what I can afford and what I can fit in my bags. So, in terms of being like extra uber prepared, I think there's just no way. And also, having never been there before, but I'm doing my absolute best. I am combing Reddit on a daily basis. I read the burner survival guide from first to last word, and I'm asking the most annoying, obnoxious questions to every burner that I know. Like should I pack this? Should I pack that? Is it normal do I need pants for the daytime? Do people wear pants? Like, what do I need? There's a lot of questions. There's a lot to be answered, a lot to go over. So I'm excited to report back to this same podcast after I'm done.
Wow.
See how much I've changed.
Yeah. Oh, my God.
That also means that somehow we have to get this RV to Reno so that I can report back to the podcast after I'm done. I'm hoping that we'll somehow be able to, within the next 19 days, make it to 18, really, to get there the day before, make it down to Reno, Nevada from here. So look, Starlink might actually be arriving tomorrow as soon as possible. It could potentially, after like a month of like Starlink's arriving, it's coming soon, it might get here tomorrow. It also might get here next Wednesday, but somewhere in that range, Starlink is due to arrive, and at which point we would theoretically be able to just go. The engine problems may or may not be something easy to resolve and quick to resolve. We don't know yet. So the possibility still exists for us to be able to drive this rig. And next week you have a week off work too, don't you?
A whole week off work. Wow.
It's a game changer. We might actually be able to do this. We might be able to pull it off. We also might get about 10 feet and then the RV breaks down and then we're fucked and then I have to take a bus to Reno. But who knows, man? The world is our oyster. And honestly, yesterday morning I was feeling a little bit defeated. I'm not going to lie. In the Home Depot parking lot, I was trying to open up the hood and check the air filter. Air filter turned out to be fine, by the way. I was hoping that would be the problem because that's a really easy solution. It was not the problem. Brand new air filter. And I was trying to fix the seatbelt that had broken. And I was just struggling because I don't really know how to do this stuff. And I kind of started to lose faith. I'm not gonna lie. I was a little bit like, that and the day before, I was a little bit like, I don't know if we can do this.
You're on the edge. Yeah.
I was on the
That's
edge.
close.
And we got here to this beautiful campground and we went and swam in Lake Michigan during the sunset, and I feel like I was baptized. I was baptized by Lake Michigan, and I was feeling much better about life. And I was standing there on the shore, and I said to myself, I just wish I had a pair of goggles. That would just make me feel so much better because then I could go, diving in the lake and see like the fish and all that. So we came back to the RV, and our new campsite that was assigned to us because we decided to stay an extra night is right next to the bathrooms. And the bathrooms had vending machines. I thought, that's cool. Let's go check out what's going on in the campground vending machines. There's 2 vending machines next to each other. One of them is snacks, the usual suspects, and the other one is camping and fishing supplies. And in the middle of the vending machine was a $5 pair of child-sized goggles. And I was like, okay, universe.
Who comes up with this stuff anyway?
Who comes up
Wow.
right next, like about 30 feet away from us, a pair of child-sized goggles. So I bought a $5 pair of child-sized goggles. They feel like they're going to suck my eyeballs right out of my sockets. It is not comfortable, but they are goggles. And I wasn't specific when I tried to manifest that about the what kind of goggles.
They're watertight. You're not going to get any splash in your eye with those things.
It's
That's
true.
Fantastic. Fantastic manifestation.
I'm feeling a lot more like, okay, all right, this might actually be possible. We might actually be able to pull this off. A funny story about I feel like I'm kind of dominating this conversation. I'm sorry.
You're getting it. This is your morning. I didn't know you were such a morning person.
I'm not a morning person. This is weird. I think it's
You clearly need to revisit your checklist of what you are and are not.
because
wow.
because I set my alarm at 5:55. It's the magical time. It's like the magical time that gets me actually to like have energy in the day. Funny story though about manifestation. So one time I went to a music festival, Shangri-La, and I was like, I'm going to practice my manifestation this week. And I had a fairy costume and I didn't have wings. And I was like, I just want a fairy round. That's back when there was like a lot of kiddos at that festival. It might have been Project Earth, but regardless, I went to the festival without a pair of fairy wings, and I was like, I'm going to manifest a pair of fairy wings so I could dress up as a fairy and I can run around, like interact with the kids, interact with people, and be all like, woo, fairy. All weekend, I'm like, fairy wings, fairy wings, fairy wings. I went to every single vendor. I went to the Giving Tree where there's usually like people leave gifts and you can like take and leave and exchange stuff. And I went and checked the Giving Tree like religiously. I even got to the point where I started looking around for, people like lost things. I'm like, maybe I could borrow them and then return them like afterwards, whatever. All weekend, I even started asking people. I was like, anybody have a pair of fairy wings that they could sell me? No one had fairy wings. The end of the festival, the very end of the festival, I was doing cleanup crew. And I heard someone yell out, everyone's gone. Whole park is empty. We're doing cleanup crew. I hear someone yell, does anybody want a pair of fairy wings? And I turn around and they're holding up the tiniest, ugliest, most grubby pair of child-sized fairy wings. And I was like, that checks out. So there was my fairy wings. And I was like, I guess I wasn't really specific, was I?
You earned your wings on that one.
But what's really cool is that after I accepted that, we finished up doing the sweep and I found somebody else came out of the woods with like an amazing pair of fairy wings. And I inherited that too. So after I accepted that, it's like I wasn't specific enough with my manifestation. Okay, what I really wanted was fairy wings to wear during the festival that were appropriate and would work with my costume. And then someone came out of the woods holding the perfect pair of fairy wings. They were amazing. And I never wore them. I stored them and then I gave them away.
They're too perfect. They're flawless wings.
I just never had another chance to wear them. That's all. It's like, they don't fit in a backpack. Like, what am I going to do?
Intentional manifestation is tricky because you can't get too intricate with your manifestation because then it doesn't give the universe its wiggle room to actually surprise you and give you the twist, the M. Night Shyamalan to it. But if you're too generic, then you end up with teeny tiny little wings.
Little nubbins.
It's the sound it makes when they flap.
I don't like that sound.
It would be more like a... No, it'd be like a... That's perfect, and you got to admit,
Yeah.
It's like a honeybee fairy.
Aw. That sounds cute.
No, it's like a hummingbird, humming wasp, humming moth.
Hummingbird moth.
Hummingbird moth
Yeah.
are a real Michigan species.
They're a real species in a lot of places.
What? How does a hummingbird and a moth, how do they cross mate? I thought that was
They
like a thing
don't.
that doesn't happen in nature.
They don't.
Well, then how does a hummingbird moth exist?
Magic.
Speaking of which, we have some magic garbanzo beans for sale. They're $3.50 each.
Or we'll take a donkey.
Yeah, we take donkeys for sure. Miniature donkeys also. It doesn't matter what size they are.
A full-scale donkey would be a little difficult to fit in the RV, so I would prefer a miniature donkey. But we will trade a miniature donkey and a house-trained, and he has to come with tennis shoes.
All right, I'm going to start recording.
You're going to start recording? Stop
There we
doing
go.
this
We're
to
good.
me.
It almost works every time.
How
many times have
90% of the time, it works every time.
I have an important question for you.
What's the important question?
How many times have I rickrolled you throughout our life?
Oh my God, so many. Way too many Rickrolls, dude. Way too many Rickrolls. It is not okay, the number of Rickrolls that have happened.
I got you
in this
recently,
friendship.
too. That was fantastic one. Because you're in, like, shopping mode. So I was like, I don't know, look at this whatever thing. And
I know. Yeah. You're like, oh, look at this product. Like, it was like related to, I was saying, oh, I need to buy one of these things. You're like, oh, here's a link to and you disguised it as an Amazon link as well.
I did. It was clever.
You've
took it
gotten
up a notch.
very creative about your Rickrolls over the years.
Because you became
And
very observant on my
yeah,
text
as
messages.
soon as a tiny URL pops up, I'm like, nah. I know where this is leading. Bit.ly, I think not. So you've gotten really good over the years at disguising your Rickrolls and just slipping them into places where I'll never expect. It's just every time my response is the same. I go,
Makes you feel alive, though, doesn't it?
I just can't believe it still exists.
I hope it lives long like the internet and forever. We will just share Rickrollings. Oh my gosh.
It's one of those immortal things that
Gosh.
I kind of, in a way, I hope Rickrolling never dies as well. It's just like one of those relics of the past that's, when I'm elderly, I hope to be like, back in my day, we used to send videos of Rick Astley to each other. Okay, Grandma. Gosh, there's so many gems from that era, though. I really wish that I could somehow convey to people just how wonderful it was to be perpetually online in the golden age of the internet. Is that the dial-up noise?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Golden age of the internet, the time when E-Bombs World and Homestar Runner were popular.
Homestar Runners.
.com. Tunes. Games.
Email.
Characters.
Oh
Downloads.
my gosh.
Email.
So right. That's so right.
I may or may not have spent a lot of time on the internet back in the day. Okay, so here's the Earth chilling. Dang, that is a sweet Earth, you might say. Round. Moving half, the ice caps melting, meteors becoming crashed into us, the ozone leaving. We're definitely going to blow ourselves up.
I'm watching flash animations in my mind
I
right now. This is fantastic.
My hope is that somebody eventually listens to this and sees exactly the same image that both of us are seeing. And then they continue to do it. Like, you can't help it. It's like a gut reflex. Like, in their mind afterwards, they're still seeing it. Like, the rest of this conversation stops existing because they're just watching the cartoon in their mind.
I haven't checked to see if it's still an active website, but I'm very curious now.
E-Bombs World?
Homestarrunner.com.
Oh, me neither.
I mean, I would be super into that if it still did. And was it daily?
What about Neopets?
Weekly? Oh my gosh, we got into that. It was nuts.
Did we get into that on the podcast, or
Not
did we get
yet,
into that?
no.
We got into that in person.
All our good conversations
Oh
happen
my
off
God.
the microphone.
I know. As soon as a microphone happens, I'm like, let me just talk about the same 5 things over and over and over again.
You haven't even talked about cooking yet.
I haven't, but I have definitely talked about Fort Custer Recreation Area.
Yeah. that for the last time, though, probably, until we go back.
Fucking better be. Just edit out the last half of what you said, and we're good.
Along with 35 more minutes of this. So we'll get the gems.
Yeah. It's all about editing. Get them nuggets out of that gold mine.
Oh my gosh.
Sift through, just panning. That's all I'm doing. There's gold here.
Do you think that we're gonna get the unedited, like full clip version?
The raw, straight
raw.
raw.
Oh my gosh, that's what the OF is for.
Yeah.
There's got to be like this type of thing on OF, you know? Do you think so?
Two
I've never
people
looked.
sitting in an RV having a podcast with a flappy doo between them.
Flappy doing that fur vest though.
A fur vest. Ugh. It is actually getting really warm in this fur vest. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, zebras need that heavy coat, you know. Oh my gosh. This is how this starts. Okay.
Stop looking. Stop looking, Bombadillo. Oh God. Mornings are actually very difficult. I know that
It's
I
more
am
fun than night though, right?
Yeah, you get to have a full day of work after this. In like 10 minutes. You gotta can the podcast and get into work.
I'm so excited though. I'm gonna solve all the puzzles today. It's gonna be so good.
That's awesome.
And okay, so last time I was working, which was yesterday, you disassembled the entire Terry's RV, and now it works better by taking apart the seatbelt, which I
Didn't
think
do anything.
we trailed off and like didn't really like get into how awesome that was. But you took apart the seatbelt. Not only that, you took apart the air filter housing.
All I did
and-
was just check the air filter.
And you removed a tube, and you removed a
I put the tube back.
stripped bolt, which happened to be the problem this whole time.
No,
was
it
that
wasn't.
stripped bolt,
That
as
bolt-
far as we know.
It was fine before it wasn't stripped before I unscrewed it. I actually invented that problem and then had to spend an hour solving it.
But it was too tight before, I think, probably because
Nope. Now we're missing. We're actually worse off than when we started because now we're missing a bolt on the air filter housing. That was perfectly fine before I opened it to check the air filter, which I looked at the air filter from underneath and I said, looks like a brand new air filter to me, but I better take the housing off just to be sure that there's nothing on the top side of it, which of course there wasn't. Why would there be? That makes no sense. But I decided just to be extra sure to remove the entire air filter housing, which I did, and it was fine. Brand new, one of the few things that the mechanics actually did replace in the last time you got it serviced. And then I stripped a bolt, trying to thread it back in, and now that bolt is missing, and the air filter housing has
actually right there.
it's right there. Yeah, I know where it is, but it's it is
Oh,
not in the housing,
see, yeah.
and it's at this point in time, kind of like, well, it's probably not the end of the world.
Nay, if you shaved off a half a pound yesterday, and we can tell the difference, I can tell the difference.
The bolt is still in here.
Terry's excited. But the siding's not, so we've definitely still shaved off half a pound.
I did lose, yeah. So actually, if anything, yesterday, about a week ago, the screen door wasn't closing properly, and to try and figure out why, I ended up having to take the strip of there's like a protective strip on one side that covers up the bolts that the door screws into, and I removed that. It was like, everything looks good here, and put it back. And yesterday, while we were driving, I look in the mirror, and there's just like, it was not making that noise. Please stop making that noise. Why is it always that noise? Why do we have to keep coming back to these horrible ASMR experiences?
It's an unfortunate noise that permeates our reality, and I can't explain it
really
myself.
doesn't.
I
It
think it
really
has to do with
doesn't.
fractals and harmonics. Maybe.
Okay.
I heard there was a secret chord that Jesus played, and it pleased the Lord. And I think it went like this.
I quit. Done. I am done. No more. I'm leaving this RV. I'm leaving this podcast. The next time you make that noise, God Damn it, Bombadillo.
I'm trying now to visualize what that noise actually would be.
Don't.
And it's like really fun, like because it's weird.
Not.
It's so strange. It's usually a slimy thing in my imagination. Like one of those fish, those like weird fish with the weird mouths that come up to the surface. Oh no!
What?
There's like this fish with big lips, but he doesn't look like that because he lives way down with the high pressure.
Are you talking about a blobfish?
Yeah, blobfish. And when he comes up, he goes.
Oh, yeah, that's
Oh, he's a sad fish. He goes.
Yeah, that's actually really unfortunate. You know, the internet has probably seen pictures of blobfish and say, "Oh, it's the ugliest fish." Turns out that what we think of as a blobfish is actually looks ugly because it is in fact a fish that lives at extreme depths under pressure and depressurizes when it's rapidly brought up to the surface. So, of course, its lips, the skin in its lips basically inverts and its eyes pop out of its sockets. It's dead. The only pictures that we have of blobfish are dead blobfish that have basically been exploded due to rapid depressurization, which is really morbid and awful. And then we look at it, we're like, look at the blobfish. It's like really terrible if you think about it.
Look at the blobfish. That is
Yeah. No, actual blobfish just look like just fish.
Save
deep
the
sea
blobfish.
fish. Yeah, save the blob.
Hashtag save the blob.
Hashtag stop shaming the blobfish for torturing them and then being like, oh, look at this tortured, mutilated carcass. Look how funny it looks. It's like, it's actually quite unpleasant.
Blob backwards is bulb. I just realized that.
Wow, dude. What do you think it means?
Well, it is in the shape of a bulb. It's bulbous. Bulbasaur.
Bulbasaur.
Yeah. Of course.
At the end of the day, I'm actually just a parrot who just recites clips from my childhood.
Parrot.
That's not what parrots sound like.
It's been a while.
I've never met a parrot that says parrot, because in order to do that,
I would teach mine to do that.
someone would have,
like a Pokemon. Parrot. People lose their mind.
in order for a parrot to start saying parrot, you have to walk up to it and say parrot.
Yeah. It's just as weird.
They don't know what they're saying. It's like, oh yeah, parrot.
Just acknowledging
That's
it.
me.
Day after day, morning after morning,
Parrot.
hour after hour. Parrot.
What was it? The guy at Home Depot, the 17-year-old working at Home Depot that was watching us work on the RV in the lot. We went to get a pot to repot your grandma's cactus that lives in the RV, and he said, "Did you name the cactus?" He was asking us what we were up to, and he said, "Have you named the cactus yet?" He said, "No, we haven't thought to name the cactus." He said, "You should name it Prick. That way, every morning you say, 'Good morning, Prick.'" It's like this 17-year-old is going places.
I love it. Prick. It reminds me of just like a prick, like a squire to like some kind of knight in some kind of cartoon or something, like a King Arthur type of
Prick,
thing.
please fetch my sword.
Yeah, exactly. Like a
Good
prick.
morning, Prick. Please fetch my sword.
Fetch my golf club.
Well, oops.
Prick. There it
Prick.
is. Your name doesn't matter. Get the golf club. Go.
I didn't know squires were in charge of golf clubs. I think there's a different name for that.
I don't know. I was thinking polo, but I don't know what they call a polo club because I was thinking miniature still donkeys, and I was thinking I want to ride a miniature donkey and play polo with, but I don't know what that's. A mallet?
Fetch my mallet, squire. Prick. Get my polo mallet.
There's a lot of wires getting crossed here, and I'm here for
We're
it.
full
but
circle now. Did we tie it all in?
yeah, sure. We tied it into whatever's going on in your mind, and I'm not going to argue with it. How we doing on time? Got about 5 minutes left.
You want to make official? We could actually do a real end podcast
An
thing,
actual
a
sign off. We could do that. Let's first at least just kind of give a little bit of a wrap up of we know where we are, we sort of know what we're doing, and do we have any goals for between now and the next podcast?
I'm excited to say we accomplished our goal this morning. We woke up on time.
We did.
and
We
did it. We
podcasted this morning
podcasted it.
before work. High five, dude.
Yeah. Good job. That's
Well
awesome.
done.
We're
Well
doing
done.
Good. We're doing real good.
We are.
Goals. My goal is to really experience this place before we have to head on down the road. I mean, last time you were here, you read a Harry Potter book from start to finish. So I think
Oh yeah.
we should dive into the sites, maybe check out some trails.
Yeah.
See how that goes.
I mean, last Muskegon State Park. Last time I was here, I was 18 and had just graduated high school. So this is nice to return to a place that I have this same campground. I didn't realize it when I booked it. I got here and I was like, wait a minute. I've been here. The Hobo's Tavern was what tipped me off. Because we went past Hobo's Tavern and that inspired us to make hobo pies, which we should see if we could find a hobo pie maker because I would love to make some hobo pies.
Your manifestation game has been on point. Let's
get
make
us
sure
a
to
hobo
think
pie
the right
maker.
size hobo pie
Maybe
maker,
not
like a
necessarily.
tiny one
That would
or-
require us leaving, so not this time around, but in the next venture outwards. My goals for until the next podcast is finish editing the existing podcasts and publish them so people can actually listen to our podcast and watch our podcast and all of those things. My other goals include continuing the mold removal. I would like to get to a point where I can sleep without going, what is that smell? And be able to wake up in the morning feeling like I can breathe. That's
Excellent way to start the day.
pretty important goal. I think last time that we did this podcast, we talked about the gray water debacle, and we're still finishing up finding all the affected areas from the gray water debacle, and flushing things out and sanitizing and bleaching and vinegaring, and not in the same areas, obviously, because that creates chlorine gas. Don't combine vinegar and bleach, kids.
We learned about that.
We-
Ammonium.
Not the
too.
hard way though, the
Ammonium
Google
and
way,
bleach, yeah.
and the lecture way. I already knew that, and we had a conversation about not mixing vinegar and bleach, nor should you ever mix bleach and ammonia. So, fun facts on the podcast.
Have you heard of Jenkum chambers?
What?
Jenkum chambers?
No.
Okay. Well, we can talk about that later.
All right.
I was just thinking of noxious gases, and that came to mind.
I don't think I want to know about it. So, my goals include the mold and publishing, and I think that's about it.
Those are good goals, achievable.
And figure out where we're going next. Start hitting the road, getting ourselves set up to where we can confidently, maybe if not confidently, at least optimistically hit the road and begin our journey westward.
Wow.
We would like to thank our sponsors for making today possible. Thank you, Mug of the Woods from Minnesota Renaissance Festival, for these awesome mugs that we paid full price for and that you have no idea that we're giving you a shout out for, and that you don't have a website, so there's no way that we can link our viewers and listeners to them. All you can do is go to Minnesota Renaissance Festival and hope for the best, because they sell out pretty quick. Thank you also to our sponsors, Wookiefoot, who also don't know that you're sponsoring us and have done nothing to sponsor us besides existing and being amazing. And that's all we want. Thanks.
Activate keeps coming on the radio every time I plug my phone in to Terry, which is fantastic. I mean, what better way to start a road adventure than activating?
Activating.
Yeah. it's
Activating. Thank you, Wookiefoot.
Excellent.
Oh, your phone's ringing.
Do you
So
hear that's perfect.
it's perfect. All right. I think that this wraps up our podcast episode, our morning episode of podcasting. Thank you for tuning in. And I guess just, I don't know, try your best to like have a great day and do things and accomplish stuff. And even if you don't accomplish stuff, you can just feel good about it anyway, because you're probably pretty awesome, most likely.
But you will get a better rush of dopamine if you actually do accomplish your goal, just to be clear. So, like, set them manageable and do 'em,
Manageable
and you'll
small
feel
tasks.
great about it.
Do
Yeah.
at least one thing a day that you can feel good about and celebrate that, because you're great. Good job, everybody.
That's a sign off right there.
We love you. Bye.